All right, well, we're going to move on. The division within the Democratic Party is on full display as lawmakers are being called out over sudden change of heart after passing the GOP spending bill to avert a government shutdown.
Madeleine Rivera joins us in Washington with the latest. Hey, Madeleine.
Hi, guys. Good morning. Yeah, the backlash against Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer for advancing the GOP stopgap spending bill is growing. One progressive group, Indivisible, is calling on Schumer to step aside. They say he gave up a rare moment of leverage for Democrats and, quote, surrendered to President Trump and Republicans. The organization's co-executive director saying this: "We thank him for his service, but we need new leadership in this moment, and we understand to get there we need a chorus of support for change." There are reports that New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is being urged to primary Schumer next cycle, but she's getting some criticism from Democratic Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman over her calls to buck the Republican bill. Fetterman is saying, "What's the exit plan once we shut the government down? What about all the millions of Americans who are going to have their lives damaged? What about the ones that won't have any paycheck? She'll have her paycheck, though." And former independent Arizona Senator Kyrsten Sinema is accusing Ocasio-Cortez and other lawmakers of hypocrisy for pushing the Senate Dems to filibuster the spending bill. Just a few years ago, you might remember, they had wanted to get rid of the tool to pass former President Biden's agenda. The filibuster requires most bills to have 60 votes to clear the Senate, but Ocasio-Cortez is pushing back against Sinema, saying she did not have a change of heart. Instead, she says the same Dems who argue to keep the filibuster for when we need it do not in fact use it when we need it. It's only used to block Dem policies, never to block harmful GOP ones. Could have proved this wrong. Instead, they proved the point. Charlie, Rachel, and Joey.
Thank you, Maddie.
Thanks, Maddie.
You got it.
Because Chuck Schumer's been around a long time. And,
he has been.
And he knows what happens when there are government shutdowns, that usually the party that shuts it down gets blamed. So was he just saving, Charlie, I mean, you've been around D.C. a long time. Was he just saving the radicals in the party from themselves?
I can't figure it out because he's not a dumb guy. He handled this. This is the biggest disaster in terms of strategy that I think I've ever seen from him. It's a little bit of a reminder of what happens when, for whatever people think about Nancy Pelosi, she knew what she was doing. She knew how to wield power. And I do kind of wonder if some of this isn't the result of her absence, her withdrawing from center stage as leader of the party.
But was he wrong to? I mean, he gave the right advice, right?
He never should have allowed this to even become an issue, because they are the party of government solves all problems, and then suddenly they're going to shut the government down, and which of course is exactly what Republicans want. And what you wind up with is they're saying, wait a second, you're cutting waste, fraud, and abuse from the government? Well, we're going to shut down the government so you can't do that, except shutting down the government only allows Trump to do that even more effectively. It is the dumbest thing I have ever seen out of a Democrat, because Democrats are usually really strategically so much smarter than Republicans.
And united.
Yeah, they never snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, which we've seen House Republicans do over the last couple of years. But, he came in the final hours like, well, okay, we're good with it, but only for these many days instead of those many days. And by that point, he's showing his cards are weak. And so they just had to vote for it.
And you see this generational divide, of course, AOC representing the newer, more radical end of the party. She's probably also 1,000 times better at messaging to the base than Chuck Schumer. So she's gotten a lot more sort of support. Yeah, there's a few, old school people, telling her to back down. But ultimately, whether Democrats like it or not, Charlie and Joey, she is the voice of the new generation of Democrats.
And who did Nancy Pelosi keep in her crosshairs more than anybody else? AOC.
Yeah.
She kept her in place.
And she kept her in line.
She recognized, she knew the threat.
Nancy Pelosi was very crafted, like we said, with House Democrats. I don't think Hakeem Jeffries has that same control.
Yeah.
And, we sit here and maybe you want to say President Trump broke the Democratic Party. I think common sense broke the Democratic Party, and President Trump is taking advantage of it.
Good point, Joey.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.